Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, good evening. Welcome to day 26 of the Woman Called You Do Over January. I know we're coming a little bit late today. We're just out of a session with a couple of wonderful women and a gentleman, where we spoke on a trending issue. So, Day 26, 31 days to declutter and deconstruct the mind to gain clarity. That's what we've been on about. And where the woman called you, like I always love to, just quickly let us know, just do a quick recap of what the woman called you is all about. We're a platform of women, who are committed to inspire change through deliberately pursuing personal growth. As I've always said over the last couple of weeks, you can't give what you don't have. So we have like 5 more days to go. This program is actually a promise made that has to be a promise kept. That's why, in spite of the kind of day I've had today, I just said, no, I must come on and do this tonight. So today we're on day 26, like I said, and it's about attaining clarity. And that's in bracket confronting yourself. Like I said when we are talking about purpose yesterday, I said I wasn't talking about clarity of purpose insofar as it affected your goals, because this series is all about the mind, gaining clarity in the mind, mental clarity. Of course, talking about your goals and all of that, it's all part of the process, but we're not just talking essentially about goals this time, because I know we've done that I think in some time past, yes. So we're just sort of committed and like focused on ensuring your mind is where it ought to be, your mental space is as it should be as the year progresses. So it's more like getting yourself ready for the 11 more months to go in the year. And of course, helping that one woman who has perhaps started off the year with a yearly resolution, and just helping you, giving you the right tools within the right framework to just help you meander through the rest of the year. So today is quite straightforward, and not so straightforward, if I may say, because today when we're talking about confronting yourself, for anybody who has done the woman called you for, has been on the woman called you for like well, at least a year plus, if you've been a part of it, you probably would have been part of the series we had sometime in February last year, which was confronting the woman in the mirror. And today I'm going to bring an aspect of that particular series on confronting the woman in the mirror, as it affects, the issue of decluttering your mind. Because one thing I believe, and that's where, remember I said decluttering to deconstruct to gain clarity. We've talked about techniques for decluttering. We've gone through, you can revisit some of our videos in the past 25 days. You'd actually seen that we've gone the length and breadth of ways, means, and techniques for decluttering. So we're now coming to that point where we are having to rebuild, because after decluttering, we now had to deconstruct, which is the where we had to unlearn to begin to relearn. So when we're now relearning, it's like rebuilding, and because before you can rebuild, you have to unlearn to relearn. Before you can build, you have to break to rebuild. And one thing I can assure a woman is that, in your brokenness, in your ability to be vulnerable, to just lay it all out there. I have a friend who would say, you come bare, come to God without spanks. In this case, you're coming to yourself without any hangs up. It's like coming out of the closet to yourself. Yes. So one thing I want to just assure a woman, that when you choose to be that vulnerable, when you choose to just embrace your brokenness, it oftentimes more than you can imagine, it will lead you to that change that you're pursuing. It will definitely make life easier. When I'm saying make life easier, you wouldn't have all the answers. You don't expect to get all the answers, but certainly it will make life easier for you. Because you just have to come to your own self. You come before you. That's, how do I put it? You stand naked before yourself. If I dare to put it like that, you just come and just no airs. I mean, you're not forming to yourself, because many of us, we live in denial, and that's the truth. We form to ourselves a lot, but you just choose to confront yourself, and that's when you're having to look at yourself in the mirror and say, what it is about yourself. And most times, like today, I just have to adjust. There are some tough questions. There are some tough questions, because in trying to gain clarity, especially if you've been following us in the last couple of weeks, you'll see you've had times where you have to just realize that you have inner battles that you're facing. I'm sure there's some things I would have said that would have caused some form of discomfort and all of that. But after today, you understand that you need to begin to question yourself. Self-questioning, like that's what I call it. I call it self-questioning. You must begin to question yourself. And if you don't, begin to question yourself, anything anybody says about you, you may either believe or you become defensive. And when you believe something or you become defensive, it makes no sense, because if you're defensive, when at the end of the day, what is being said about you is actually fact, is, entrenched in truth, then you're not being fair to yourself. Then if what is being said about you is not true, it's an untruth, you know, then whoever is doing it or saying it is not being fair to you. So a woman today, in the next couple of minutes, I'll just throw out there the kind of questions, and I'm going to just lower my tone, the kind of questions you would ask yourself. No other person has to be there when you're answering these questions. You alone, let me talk like a little child, will ask yourself by yourself and answer for yourself. The first question for this one, bring up pen and paper because you write it, or if you can be snapping it, fine. I've already outlined it. Like I said, I had a very busy day today, so I just arranged this question. So when it's time, I'll just click it and put it up on the screen. So it will not be as if our day 26 did not happen, So the first thing you need to learn in your journey towards attaining clarity, and that's when I say clarity, is not clarity of your goals, but clarity, mental clarity. Remember yesterday we did, your reason for being. If you watched day 25, you understand why I'm going in this direction. Because if you've been able to identify your reason for being, then you shouldn't be afraid to ask yourself these questions. They are tough. I mean, some of them you might need to just dig deep, but nevertheless, rather, you need to answer these questions. The first one, ask yourself this. Let me make the banner bigger. I actually made it small for the broadcast I had before this one. So number one, yes. Okay, this is good enough, yeah. So number one, do I rule my fears or do they rule me? In the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about so many things. Remember the brain dumping technique? I think it was day 3 or day 4. One of the things you may have written down back then, or might have written down, or whatever, were your fears. So today, those fears, and as you're watching me, you might actually, some might be coming, into your mind space. Be honest with yourself. Nobody can answer this question for you. I remember ahead of the Woman in the Mirror seminar last February. I mean, having to answer these questions personally was a tough call for me. Because, like, I'm always doing my brain dumping. So I really, the interesting thing is when you don't need people to define who you are, when essentially you know who you are. So I can boldly say here today that truly all my flaws, everything about me, I know them. Usually when somebody is telling me something that I already know, it doesn't come as a surprise. And that's because I've taken time to confront myself. Like I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, by the special grace of God, I'm turning 52. And it would be most disastrous, really, if I haven't learned by now how to confront myself. See, getting feedback from people about you is a different thing, but in confronting yourself to know what and who you truly are, the kind of things that rule you in terms of fear or whether you rule them, is a fact you need to answer. So, do I rule my fears or do they rule me? Some people have fear of disengagement. And when I say disengagement, not having total loss of control of whatever, whereby it seems you would work so hard at being in control. That's why some people, they have control issues, they have trust issues, because these are the kind of fears they deal with. I'm just giving this as an example. So the issue now is, does that fear, do you have your rule over it? Do you rule over it? Or does it rule you? Go ahead and answer that question. It might be tough to answer, but nonetheless, just do it. The second question is, I remember you're confronting yourself. You don't, for this one, like most of the things we've done over the last couple of weeks, they're personal things. You don't need somebody to, like, give you the answer of whatever it is you're asking yourself. So, like this one is now, straight up. It's like, where am I on my own path? And what does that say about my character? Where am I on my own path? Are you dancing to a tune known to you personally? That tune you can hear. Or are you dancing to the tune of others? Where are you on your own path? Where are you on your own path? This thing has more to do with your mental state than the obvious physical things that surround you. So where are you on your own path? What does that say about your character? Are you still a people pleaser? Are you a people pleaser? What does that say about your character? Does it mean you're lacking in mental strength? If you've been following us, you'll see how you might be able to answer these questions. Not as if you're getting exposed. It's not going to give you the answers, but the direction. You know what to look out for. You know what to look out for. When you're answering, what does it say about your character? Remember, you'd have done the assessment of what your strengths are, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats. You'll have done all of that. So where are you on that path? What does it say about your character? The next thing you would ask yourself, these are tough questions, might seem easy, but they are tough. Remember your brain dumping technique. So here, what is the hard decision I'm avoiding? There are some people, there are some things that are deal breakers, but we're not, it gives us stress. We're not able to, we're not able to confront. Are you still struggling with that decision? You've made up your mind to do something, but you're still struggling because you're that person who likes to overcommit. You're that person who likes to overreach. You're that person who wants to be seen as the one who is always doing. The one who, when she chooses not to do, is not going to be liked. Meanwhile, all these things are stressors. They're giving you a headache. So be truthful to yourself. What is that hard decision? Some of you, you've made up your mind to walk out of a relationship that is destructive. You have given your power to a narcissist. Meanwhile, it's your mind. Everything is just as if there's a fire on the mountain. So answer that question. What is that hard decision I've been avoiding? Am I ready to take that leap? Remember the other day I said, are you ready to jump? Are you ready to jump? The next question you'd ask yourself, is my present reality aligned with my inner drive? If you recall one of the sessions, we talked about passion statements. Yesterday, we talked about reason for being. Is my present reality aligned with my inner drive? I talked about the things I'm passionate about. Am I really living the life I desire, or am I just living a humdrum life? I'm just here, my body is here, but my mind is not here. And one of the indicators for mental clarity, for mental alertness, for mental strength is that your body is there, your mind is there, everything is there, you are in the present. But answer that question, is my present reality aligned with my inner drive? You know, when we're talking about faith, you say, let the word of your lips, let it align with the thoughts of your heart. When we are doing faith walk and faith talk, that's what we say. But here we're talking about mental state. We're talking about the search, the pursuit of mental clarity. Is your present reality aligned with your inner drive? Is my present reality aligned with my inner drive? The question is yours to answer. The next question, and that's the final question before we call it curtains for the day. This one, you might not just be able to answer it just like that. You need to sleep on this. You need to sleep on this. Am I happy with my life? And one of the indicators where one is happy with their life is the fact that you take responsibility for everything that happens in that life. I hope you know that when I'm talking about being happy, remember I said clarity, even when mental alertness, when we're also talking about mental strength, it's not a search for happy. It's not a search for happiness. Happiness doesn't mean everything is good. It's more of contentment. So am I happy with my life? The fact that you answer yes doesn't mean you cannot, still do something more about that life. But you must be honest with yourself. Are you truly content with the life you live? Are you happy? Can you go to bed at night and say, yes, I lived today? It's time for us to reconstruct, because the mind, I'm sure, has been deconstructed in the last couple of weeks. But for you to, actually begin to reconstruct your mind, I urge you, have a good look at these questions. They might just seem easy, on the surface. But if you take time to dig deep, to ask yourself those questions that you imagine someone who doesn't like you will ask you. Because, you have to be brutal with yourself. Is that putting yourself on full blast, looking at the woman in the mirror and saying, this is who I am. Because till you can answer the questions and still love yourself, because I'm not asking you to answer the questions and begin to self-deprecate. That's not what I'm asking or urging you to do tonight. I'm just simply saying that one of the ways you can truly attain mental clarity is having understood your reason for being from yesterday. You confront yourself. Ask yourself those questions, that the layers will just begin to peel off gradually. And once they peel off, I tell you, you are closer to attaining clarity. But like as I've always said, it's not a magic wand approach. It's not magic. You're not going to get there in just 31 days. What I sincerely hope for is that in the 31 days, you've been able to make the decision that this is what you truly and honestly want. And when it happens, it happens. And you'll be the better for it. You'll be the happier for it. Go ahead. Don't hesitate. If I'm to put up the questions once more, but I don't think there's really any need. Just or let me just quickly put it, just in case somebody comes later to watch it and just needs to go straight to the questions. So number one, do I rule my fears or do they rule me? Number two, where am I on my own path? What does that say about my character? Number four, or no, number three, what is the hard decision I'm avoiding? Number four, is my present reality aligned with my inner drive? And finally, I really say the last and truly the last and deepest question: am I happy with my life? So, ladies, thank you very much. It's been an awesome 26 days. I mean, in these 26 days, God, in fact, my commitment has truly been tested because I've done it in the village, I've done it in the city. I mean, I've had to, at the point when there was no power, my laptop was still on. I had to this thing in the dark. I can't forget. My voice was just resounding all over that particular night. You know, I've just like today just off a program that just finished like few minutes past 10, but I still said no way, no way, no way. Yes, I even forgot when I was having my adverse reactions to my booster shot, but yet with Trojan. So take care, good night. See you tomorrow for day 27. God bless you.